Let's be real, crypto is wild. It's a roller coaster with no seatbelts. 1 minute, Bitcoin is mooning and everyone's convinced we're heading for $1 million. You see that all the time, it's really ridiculous. The next, panic, liquidations, people swearing off crypto forever until they FOMO back in a few months later. You also see that it's just ridiculous at this point. And why? Because of emotions. Fear and greed control this market more than any technical indicator ever could. And it's the brutal truth. And trust me, the big players, the whales, the institutions, even the ones who publicly trash Bitcoin while secretly buying, Jamie Dimon, they all know this. They play the game better than anyone, using retail investors' emotions against them. That is where the Crypto Fear and Greed Index comes in. It's one of the few tools that actually quantifies this insanity, tracking investor sentiment in real time. It cuts through the noise and tells you exactly what the market feels, whether it's in full-blown panic mode or dangerously euphoric, which we had before Trump got in. Really ridiculous. We've mentioned it a couple times in our recent videos, talking about market corrections, so be sure to go and check those out. Now, history shows us that when this index screams extreme fear, that is usually the absolute best time to buy. When it flashes extreme greed, you might want to start looking for the exit. But don't take my word for it. Stick around because we're diving deep into the history of this index, exposing its predictive, massive market moves over and over again. By the end of this, you'll know exactly why ignoring it could cost you big time. Let's get into it. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index is your go-to gauge for the market's emotional temperature. It's a straightforward scale from 0 to 100. 0 means everyone's terrified, and 100, pure unbridled greed. How do they come up with this number? The index pulls data from several key areas. It's made up of 25% volatility, 25% market momentum or volume, 15% social media, 15% investor surveys, 10% Bitcoin dominance, and 10% Google Trends. So it's a really stacked and packed indicator, guys, taking information from a range of different sources. This index isn't just a mirror, it's a contrarian indicator. When the market's drowning in fear, prices often hit rock bottom, prime buying territory. Conversely, when greed is off the charts, a correction could be looming, and it had been for a very long time before we got this correction. Remember Warren Buffett's mantra, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index embodies this. So the next time you're making a move, check the index. It might give you an edge over the herd. If you want to stay ahead of the curve in crypto and not just react to it, make sure you subscribe to Crypto Tips. We break down the trends before they hit the mainstream, expose manipulation, and help you navigate the market like a pro. And as always, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't get left behind. All right, let's dive into a prime example of how the Crypto Fear and Greed Index can be your crystal ball in this wild crypto ride. Let's go back to June 2019. That was incredible. Bitcoin is on a tear, skyrocketing to nearly $13,000. The market's buzzing, everyone's euphoric, and the Fear and Greed Index, it's flashing a whopping 95%. Pure unadulterated greed. I remember that very clearly. But here is the kicker. Right after hitting that peak, Bitcoin took a nosedive. That extreme greed wasn't just a fluke, it was a glaring warning sign. The index completely nailed it, highlighting how over-the-top optimism can often precedes a sharp correction. It's a classic tale of the market's emotional pendulum swinging too far and too fast. This isn't just history, it's a lesson. When the crowd's going wild with greed, it's time to stay sharp and maybe even pump the brakes. And we did a little bit, and people at learningcrypto.com know exactly what I mean. The Fear and Greed Index isn't just a number, it's your heads up to the market's mood swings. So the next time you see that index creeping into the red, remember June 2019. It's not just about riding the highs. It's about knowing when the wave's about to break. And if the wave's breaking here, don't be there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the scamdemic crash. Back in March 2020, remember when everyone was forced to stay indoors and stare at charts? March 2020 was a bloodbath. The scamdemic blindsided the world and markets everywhere went into free fall. Bitcoin plunged to a gut-wrenching low of around $3,800. I remember that. That was incredible too. What a buying opportunity. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index, it tanked to a score of 8. That is a dramatic drop. Investors were in full panic mode, dumping assets left and right. And if you understand this stuff, you will be so relaxed during these crashes. But while the masses were running scared, the savvy saw a few opportunities. That rock bottom sentiment marked one of the best buying moments in crypto history, guys. Those that had the guts to buy during that chaos watched Bitcoin absolutely roar back, reaching a massive high in the following years. Are you seeing the pattern here, people? When the fear grips the market, it's often the perfect time to pounce. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index doesn't just reflect emotions, it highlights opportunities. So next time the index dives, ask yourself, are you going to follow the herd or seize the moment? Folks, let's talk about one of the most catastrophic events in crypto history, the Terra Luna collapse in May of 2022. This wasn't just a dip, it was a full-blown meltdown, obliterated $50 billion in market value within days. The so-called stablecoin UST lost its peg to the dollar, and its sister token Luna plunged from over $119 to virtually zero. Investors were left shell-shocked, and the market was in turmoil. During this chaos, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index plummeted to 8, mirroring the extreme fear levels saw back in March 2020 crash. Panic was the prevailing sentiment, and everyone was scrambling to get the heck out of there. But here's the twist. While the masses were selling off in fear, the market was setting the stage for stabilization and a great recovery. This gives us a key lesson. When the index hits extreme fear, it's not the time to panic, it's the time to pay attention. The herd mentality leads to selling low and buying high, but savvy investors recognize these moments as potential opportunities. The Fear and Greed Index isn't just a reflection of sentiment, it's a tool that, when used wisely, can guide you through the market's emotional extremes. So the next time the index dives into red, ask yourself, are you going to follow the panic or will you see the opportunity that others miss? Let's bring it back to today. The Fear and Greed Index is sitting at a brutal 16, up from 10 yesterday. I love this stuff. That is extreme fear territory. But what's got everyone shaking in their boots? Well, for a start, over $800 billion has been evaporated from the crypto markets over the past month. Bitcoin alone has nosedived as well, and is hovering around $78,000 or whatever. Ethereum down big time too, all thanks to a massive $1.5 billion Bybit hack. If big players aren't safe, who is? Check out a bit more about that in our previous video where we dive a little bit deeper. And this part cracks me up. Remember we thought a new administration would be a crypto savior? Yeah, about that. The anticipated pro crypto policies under President Trump didn't quite play out yet. Instead, we're dealing with tariff tantrums and economic jitters, and investors are getting impatient. What does that mean for you? Well, the fear and greed index plummets to these depths. History tells us one thing: opportunity, guys. Extreme fear often precedes market rebounds. While the masses panic sell, the savvy strategize. This could be the calm before the storm in a good way. My suggestion is that you check out our previous two videos where we look at whether the current dip is a correction or the start of a bear market and compare it to previous bull market corrections. The fear and greed index isn't a crystal ball, but it is a powerful tool if used correctly. The smart move: don't rely on it alone, use it alongside other indicators. Understand market trends, and most importantly, don't let your emotions get played. Look at Twitter, look at YouTube. It's full of emotional people. Don't follow these people. Don't take my word for it. Look back at March 2020 or June 2022. Those who kept their cool during the chaos reaped crazy rewards. So ask yourself, are you going to let the fear dictate your moves, or will you see the bigger picture? Because at the end of the day, guys, the market whales love when retail traders ignore sentiment, and that's exactly how they win. If everyone is screaming that crypto is dead, ask yourself, is this a sign of opportunity? If the market is euphoric and influencers are promising Lambos, maybe it's time to start taking a little bit of profits, which we did at learningcrypto.com. So we are styling. At the end of the day, the biggest winners in this space don't follow the herd. They outthink it. So tell me, does the fear and greed index actually help, or is it just another market gimmick? Drop your comments down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that. With that said, if you do want to see what we do with our crypto, we've been in this space for over a decade. Check out learningcrypto.com. You'll be able to see what we're buying, when we're selling. When we're selling, that is very important. That is why I say our subscribers are very happy right now. Talk to you guys soon.